Good morning, ma'am.
Hello. Very good morning to you all.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
So I welcome you all for this session of classes. So hello to all those who are present and who are going to join now. Am I audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. We are going to learn from today to 6 classes, social anthropology, and the remaining classes will be studying rural and urban sociology, right? Because we are having 2 different core subjects and other details. I think you are all aware of it. Now, shall we start our social anthropology? Have you received your books?
Yes, ma'am.
Nice. That is really very nice. Since you are having your books, it is better if you keep your books with you, or you can jot down the points and later you can refer. Now, why this? The reason is I may not go in verbatim as per your books. That is meant for your self-reading. So here we'll be discussing the quintessence, whatever is important from the viewpoint of your examinations and from the viewpoint of how you can understand the subject. Hence, it is better if you note down some points. Please keep a paper and pencil with you. Now, our first unit is on definition, meaning, and scope of social anthropology. If you refer your book, the very first unit is on definition and scope as well as meaning of sociology. Now, let us start with what is meant by sociology, how sociology students are expected to study social anthropology, and how best we can understand social anthropology as students of sociology. Will be taking these aspects in our today's class, first half of our class. If possible, let us say the relationship of social anthropology and other social sciences also, because your block 1 consists of 3 lessons. Of these, let us try to see 2 lessons or 2 units in today's class. I hope some more students are going to join. That is the reason I am going a little bit slow. Now, let us start with what is social anthropology. We all know social anthropology is one of the main divisions of anthropology. That means, in order to understand what is social anthropology, it is better to start with what is anthropology. Because physical anthropology, social and cultural anthropology, these are the 2 major divisions of anthropology. Let us take the etymological meaning of anthropology. Anthropos, it's a Latin term. Anthropos means human being. Logi or logos means scientific study of anything. So if you are scientifically studying human being, then that is anthropology. Anthropos plus logi. What is meant by the scientific study? There are a variety of methods which we use in our research. Wherever you are able to experiment upon, tabulate, collection the data, tabulate the data, analyze it by using some kind of mathematical computational techniques, and coming to a conclusion that is known as generalization. Once you come to a generalization, once again, trying to re-research on that so that you can prove or disprove, then it becomes a theory. If you are able to do this in your research, then that means you are following scientific method in a very simplest way. When you study human being, particularly his body or his skeleton, various blood groups, or his racial structures, characteristics, all these aspects fall under the category of physical characteristics and their study of human being. That is known as physical anthropology. As students of sociology, we will not go to that side, that is physical aspects. We'll be concentrating on how human beings started living together as groups, how they developed various institutions which fulfill their needs, how they developed culture or language, what type of linguistic ideas they have developed, and so that they can develop language, that to written language, and later using this written language in order to record whatever has happened, that is known as history. What type of various utilitarian objects they were using, how they were creating them. All these aspects fall under the category of socio-cultural life. Socio-cultural life is a subject matter for cultural anthropology. But within cultural anthropology, we can say, for our convenience sake, let me say, we can say two aspects. One is concentrating on social life of human being, that is social anthropology, concentrating on how culture develops and how culture is being used by the human being. We can call them as cultural anthropology. The difference between these two is very thin line, you can say. Now, I think you understood what is meant by social anthropology. Studying about the social life of human being. I know all of you are going to get a doubt here. Even sociologists also do the same. What is the difference between these two? There is a difference. The present day culture or present day language or present day lifestyles or present day way of living are highly developed. We all claim that, or we are all proud of our way of living. We say that we are all modern people or post-modern people. We are not barbarians. We are not primitives, right? But this modernism or this development was started long ago, some thousands of years ago or lakhs of years ago. Even today, we can see some communities are still in that primitive or initial stage. We call them, we categorize them as tribes or aboriginal people or primitive people. All over the world we come across. Social anthropologists study these primitive communities in a comprehensive way so that we can understand how the development of culture occurred or how our lifestyles are developed, how we used to live, how we changed our life. This is very much needed in order to understand what is happening now. Not only that, in order to predict what is going to happen in our future. When we take into consideration the methods of study of social anthropologists, they always follow field work method, going to the community, staying there, observing them. And they also compare one society to other society. This comparison gives inputs for us to understand the level of development which we are having, which, let us say, some other society is lagging behind. That is the reason why we say social anthropology is a descriptive science. It uses comparative analysis and descriptive methods and fieldwork methods. So this is the crucial difference between sociology and social anthropology. But once again, let me go back to the first part, how to define social anthropology. How social anthropology developed. Or in other words, whether social anthropology is a part of sociology or part of anthropology. Even this question also we are going to see. We have socio-cultural anthropology, we have prehistoric archaeology. These are all words which we usually use. For instance, LP Vidyarthi, who wrote a very authentic book on social anthropology, he prefers to use cultural or socio-cultural anthropology. Similarly, Iyer and Balaratnam, who wrote social anthropology in India, who published this book somewhere around 60 to 70 years ago. At the time, we were having some textbooks on social anthropology so that students can understand this. They prefer to use prehistoric or historical anthropology. Not only that, if you see the classification of various branches of anthropology, you usually come across these words, prehistory. What is the significance of these words? Prehistory means prior to history. When we see our historians and their narrations, they usually say the written language or writing started somewhere around 6,000 to 5,000 years BC or before Christ. Prior to that also we had culture, we had societies, we had social institutions. But how to know about them? We have to see what type of, let us say, let me take a simplest example, what type of utensils they were using, what type of food they were eating, what type of songs they were singing, what type of titles they were having, what type of rituals they were performing. All these aspects are still intact. We have been following them. And these show the prehistory, prior to written history. So prehistory is one of the branches of social anthropology. According to some anthropologists and some others, take prehistory as a base subject matter for anthropology. Now, how anthropology developed? Let me start with that. I hope the intro part or introductory part you were able to understand. The gist of introductory part is social anthropology was described as a branch of anthropology. Social anthropology studies social life of human beings. The preference will be given in social anthropology to study the primitive tribes. That does not mean that social anthropologists never study the present day modern societies. No, we are having one branch, namely urban anthropology and social anthropology. We talk about urban areas and what type of social relationships are going on, social life is going on, or social institutions are developing. All these aspects will be studying in urban anthropology. But basically, the subject will be studied by using comparative method and descriptive method, and also by doing field work. It is always a comprehensive study. Comprehensive means all aspects of human life will be studied by the social anthropologists. With this introduction, let us go to how social anthropology developed. Later we'll see the definitions of anthropology. Okay. If any doubts are there, you please. Bhargav, Sai Anjali, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No doubts, ma'am. So clear.
It's clear? Wonderful, wonderful. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. Thank you for your compliment. Now, I request you people to see one slide share. Why this slide share? Let me be little bit cautious. The reason is we can reduce the time using for this, particularly what can I say? History of social anthropology. Acha, is this clear? Are you able to see? Hello?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No? 1 second, ma. Give me a GIF.
Yes, ma'am. Now it's.
Is it clear?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Now it's clear.
1 second, 1 second. Somehow I'm not able to do it. God. These mechanical devices, sometimes they give a lot of trouble. Give me a GIF, ma. Thank God. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Now, let me start with what is social anthropology. Let me go back to this. I think this slide is visible to you. Is it? Are you able to see? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Now, it is nothing but studying other cultures. I have already started the slide play. That is the reason one after that it is going on. What is it we usually study? Of course, some writers wrote some books. Noble Savage is one such. We study the primitive people, right? And how these primitive people live and how it is developed. For instance, certain names we have to say. Levi Henry Morgan. He talks about the development or progress of human civilization. And Evans Pritchard is another social anthropologist. We also have certain other social anthropologists who follow the ethnographical method or functionalist perspective. I think some of the names you are able to see. I'll go into that after some time, after completion of this. Franz Boas, even his name also you are going to study at length. Malinowski or Levi Strauss or various schools Redfield or Thomas and Janicki, all these people. Then later social anthropologists started talking about migrants and minorities. And when we come to postmodernism or post-colonialism, even at that time also, we started talking about how colonial rule influenced people all over the world, including primitive people. For instance, Ashanti society in Latin American society, how it was simply snubbed. And how, let us say, the present day Harry Potter, I think you are well aware of the importance of Harry Potter, are you? Okay, I'll come to that. I'll come to that. Then how various languages which we are using now are developed. It is not only sociology or social life or social institutions, but various other aspects. So a glance of it, I thought of sharing this video. Okay, shall I stop this? Let us go back, right? It is only up to this, it is there. Now, by having a glance of this slide share, what is this we had? I know I have given very less time to you. My sincere apologies. But having glance of this, what is that we understood? Let us see. The first and foremost point is, are we having social anthropology now or was there? If not this with this name, but some kind of narration of human beings, even let us say long ago. Yes, we were having. We usually start with our sciences and their development with Plato and Aristotle, right? But even prior to that also, I think Socrates' name, all of you are well aware. Even prior to Socrates, Thrasymachus, or all of you, when you were in, let us say, 6th class or 7th class, you might have heard one symbol, pi, or Pythagoras theorem. I think you still remember, if not the theorem, at least this word. This Pythagoras, Thrasymachus, Herodotus, all these people were philosophers from Greek society. Why Greece and Greek societies? Because at the time, Greece, the country, was very famous as country of philosophers. From there only, we usually developed most of the, or 99% of the Western knowledge, we can say. Later, of course, Romans also added to that. Romans have not studied much about such social sciences or philosophical theories and all those things. Their study is entirely little bit different one. So Herodotus, for the first time, coming back to Herodotus, Thrasymachus, of course, he explained about how human being thinks or tries to understand all these things. But Herodotus, he was, we can say, described societies in a comparative way. What he said, Herodotus was from Greek society. He went to Egyptian society and he narrated how Egyptians live. What he says, if you see some, it's only in order to create some interest, I am mentioning it. He says, Greek people are completely different from Egyptians. The reason is, it is not only in social life, but also in topographical characteristics. All of you are well aware, the river Nile passes through Egypt. We know that, right? And even today it is correct. When we are having floods to our rivers, Nile will not have any, sometimes enough water also. When we are similarly, suffering with some kind of cold and all those things, or our winter, at that time, the river Nile will get floods. Herodotus writes about this. He says, in our country, rivers are having floods during this particular season. In Egypt, even the rivers also are not having floods. So here, what is there? The reason why we are mentioning it here is social anthropological method, that is comparative study. X society versus Y society was started way back in, let us say, somewhere around 7th, 8th centuries before Christ. Then afterwards, what has happened? Aristotle talked or wrote at length about human being, his nature, and how to understand him and all that. Of course, human being is a cognitive animal, but Aristotle never accepted only this. He also used another word. Man is talkative, he says. It is not social. No, talkative. What is that he will be talking? He will be talking about himself, his society, his relatives, his friends, etc., etc. When man talks about all those things, then what happens? Man himself tried to categorize them into various groups. Some are moral, which say that you have to do this. If you fail to do so, then this type of punishment is going to be given to you. That is one aspect. And the second aspect is you have to befriend with these people. You should be showing, let's say, kind of resilience or enmity towards these people. These are your families. These are not your families. All these aspects are social aspects. So the first anthropological thought, which was described by Aristotle, talked about moral principles, what to do and what not to do. And later, this moral aspect developed into slowly a social anthropology. This was, let us say, long ago, before Christ. Then afterwards, what has happened? In between, during dark ages, let us say somewhere around up to 14th century, European society, including Greece and other areas, suffered a lot with wars and so many other problems. During dark ages, papal authority was there, and papal authority never accepted people saying anything or writing anything against the Bible. But still, anthropological studies went on, research went on, both physical as well as social anthropology. For instance, Father Fleming Vesalius, I think his name is familiar to you. He is termed as father of anatomy. His father was a pastor, and he was given the duty of an undertaker. You know who is an undertaking, I think. The person who cleans the cemetery part and all that, and sometimes he digs and takes out dead man's, what can I say, bodily places. That person is known as undertaker. Father Vesalius wanted to question one biblical theory. As per the biblical theory, human being, particularly Adam, was created by God. When Adam went and said, I am not able to cope with this loneliness, I need some other companion, then at that time, as per the story goes, Adam's rib, one of the ribs was taken out, taking various aspects from the nature. God has created the Eve. Right? I think this story is familiar to you. Vesalian got a doubt. If Eve is created by the God by taking one of the ribs of Adam, then human bodies, particularly male body, should not have all bones in his rib, because one rib is taken to create the Eve. He wanted to investigate upon this, do research on this. What he used to do is he used to dig the coffins, open the corpse, cut it, and see the structure of human body. Here I am not saying anything against any holy book and all that. I am talking about Vesalian. When Vesalian's father came to know, then he said, no, don't do this, because it is a very grievous crime and you may be killed by the papal authority. But what Vesalian did is he prepared with drawings how human body, particularly bones and other muscles, everything is going to be there. All pictures he made. Later, all these pictures has created inputs for us to study the anatomy and to know about our body and how we develop. And we teach our students now, a class 2 boy, human body will have 206 bones. How these bones develop? If you come to physical anthropology, we also say the length and width of a bone, whether because of this skeletal structure a person is going to be short built or not. So like this, we started doing a lot of research. But during Dark Ages, Fleming Vesalian did this research. Similarly, other lady, a nun, namely Hypatia, she wrote a book on how human beings think, how human beings behave, how human beings understand various situations, and how all these, that is thinking, having some images and understanding, results in a kind of behavioral pattern, how these behavioral patterns are accepted or not accepted, or amended or changed. So she wrote a book during Dark Ages. These are only 2 examples. There are umpteen number of examples. These show that anthropological studies were going on. Then later, 17th, 18th century, already we saw the slide share. At that time, particularly in European societies, that to Britain, Spain, France, these countries are known as first world countries. In fact, they were Rajas, kings, because Spain also was a colonial ruler. Britain, of course, we know very much about that, even France also. When these people became colonial kings, they started saying that we are the people, ethnocentric view we usually say. All others' culture is barbarian culture. They are not at all human beings. In fact, one gruesome example of this barbarianism is, all of you are well aware, that is racism. Blacks and white people, and how blacks were taken as slaves by the white people. All of us are well aware of this. Not only blacks versus whites, but even yellow people, that is China, or nearby areas, even they were also not treated on par with the Caucasian group or Britishers or Spaniards or French people. They also started saying that only we are having these institutions, others are not having these institutions at all. One such institution, let me make a mention here, that is religion. When Taylor, Edward Barnett Taylor, did his research on religion and its culture, the idea which was prevalent throughout the Britain or most of the European countries, let me say, is that only Britishers, Spaniards, French people will have religion because they are developed. All others will not have any religion at all. And such ideas were known as ethnocentric views. Taylor wanted to check whether it is correct or not. Only we are having religion, or even other countries also are having. And he did his research. His research clearly proves that society develops, even religion also. We started with magico-religious rituals. From there, we developed polytheism. From there, we developed monotheism. Probably, yes, Britain, Spain, France, these countries are having polytheism, but at the same time, we also have magico-religious rituals or animism. Similarly, R.R. Marett also tried to prove. What about the components of religion? Is religion only religion or magic also? Even this also was studied during this time. Just now you saw one name, Franz Boas. He too has explained how culture develops. Similarly, there emerged so many theories between 18th to 20th century in order to understand how people behave, develop culture, and all those things. For instance, Gestalt theory, Ruth Fulton Benedict, Margaret Mead, all these people subscribe this theory. All of us are just like small pieces. If you take your wristwatch, so many components will be there in your wristwatch if you open it. Even if one small component is not working, the entire system will collapse. Your watch will not work. Similarly, human beings, social institutions, cultural aspects, etc., are components in a comprehensive system, namely society. All these should work in a proper way. How can they work? We have established so many rules, regulations, moral principles, or art, or cultural aspects, or law. All these are taught to us and we follow them. Hence, our society is continuing. This is on a Gestalt theory. Some other persons, Auguste Comte, Durkheim, these people talked about the development of culture, how culture develops. And even here, they have taken a variety of parameters. Say, for instance, how much power you are using. Accordingly, whether your society is a developed one or not. This type of theory was given by Leslie White. Horsepower, this name is, this word is familiar to you all, I know that. Once upon a time, we used to have only horse buggies, but now we are not having horse buggies. We are having our cars or bikes, two-wheelers or four-wheelers. How do you describe a four-wheeler or two-wheeler? We usually take how many horsepower. If you are using some kind of mechanical device in order to create power, then we usually say this particular device uses this much horsepower. Accordingly, civilization was described by Leslie White, saying that if, let us say, 10 horsepower are used, then that is not that developed. But if you are using more than 10 horsepower, then that is a developed one. If culture is developing in a stage-wise manner, then such theories were propounded by Durkheim, Auguste Comte, these thinkers, and they are known as mono theories, because in one particular stage-wise method they are following. And another word, multi, also is used. They are all known as linear theories, but here monolinear theories and multilinear theories we are having. Similarly, we are also having structural functional theories. Evans Pritchard, Franz Boas, or S.F. Nodal, or H.M. Beatty, all these persons followed structural functional theory or structural theory. Malinowski, Radcliffe Brown, James Fraser, these persons followed structural functional theory in order to describe the society. Later, in modern society, postmodern society, social anthropology started taking various methods from other social sciences also, or other sciences. Then we started studying various aspects of our life, just like any other social or cultural or to some extent physical sciences do. This is in a nutshell the development of social anthropology. Now, when we study the social anthropology and its development, we also should have a glance of, or should be able to understand, what is the social anthropology is going to study, or in other words, the scope of social anthropology. I had to stop the camera because I was, my photo is shown as upside down. That is the reason I have stopped it. Now, what is the scope of social anthropology? Let us have an idea. After seeing the development of social anthropology, we can jot down some points which include the scope of social anthropology, right? Ethnocentrism, studying about other cultures, development of culture, development of technology, usage of power, primitive communities and their lifestyles, their way of life or their culture, various aspects which we can see by way of fossils, by way of architectural material, or by way of stories or songs or titles or language which were not in writing, even this also will become our scope of social anthropology. We are going to study all these aspects. But in a nutshell, what can we say? The easiest way to understand the scope of anthropology is holism. What is meant by holism? We have two theoretical orientations in sociology as well as social anthropology, monoism and holism. In monoism, we will take only one individual as our subject matter and will be studying everything about him. But in holism, it is not one individual. We'll be referring the whole of the complete gamut of human relationships will be describing. And anthropology's scope is linked with this holism concept. That means we'll be studying the entire gamut of human relations, human being and his society. His includes her also. Don't think that, oh, I'm talking about only from the viewpoint of a man. No, I'm talking about from the viewpoint of she also. How can we understand this? I know you are going to ask that question. When we see the branches of social anthropology or its relationship with other social sciences, we will come across. Say, for instance, we are having urban anthropology, I have already mentioned. We are having environmental anthropology. We are having action anthropology. That means if any problem is there, every society will take care to solve that problem and to take care of that particular situation. And such activities are known as action. And we are having action anthropology also. Of course, family anthropology, political anthropology, economic anthropology, like that each institution's study is a branch of social anthropology. When we see this list is not an exhaustive. When we see this list, we will come to a conclusion that no aspect of our life is left behind. That is the reason I started with holism concept. Entire gamut of our life, historically, socially, culturally, economically, you name it, we'll be studying. For instance, you may say, how about our mind? Don't worry, we are having another branch in social anthropology that is known as psychological anthropology. How people from a particular area behave. Psychological anthropology describes this. But even now we think that they are some kind of blind beliefs and all that. But even today we are having, say for instance, people belonging to plains, they behave in such a way. People belonging to, let us say, hilly area, they behave in a particular way. But here the psychological anthropology describes how the geographical location, topographical aspects create a kind of behavior as a proper behavior in a particular society. Let me take only half a minute for this. Say, for instance, certain vegetables or some kind of meat should not be taken as consumed by us. In all societies, we will come across such beliefs. Why these beliefs? Have you tried to think about this anytime? If yes, that is really wonderful. But if not, please try to think about it. These are all linked with the geographical location where you are residing. For instance, in southern part of India, you are having more snakes. So snake worship is a very prominent worship here. If you take religious rituals and all that, many people worship snakes. Nagula Panchami, Nagula Chaviti, Nagoba, all these are linked with snakes. But if you go to New Zealand area, you will not come across any snakes at all. There are no snakes. There are no reptiles at all in that particular area. Can you come across any snake-related aspects there? I have my own doubts. No. To which aspect this is linked with your geographical location, right? So our culture develops like this. In social anthropology, we'll be studying all these aspects. This is the scope of social anthropology. Now, I hope I have tried to give the gist of definition of social anthropology as well as scope of social anthropology, development of social anthropology. In a nutshell, the gist is social anthropology studies the entire human society, but taking primitive communities or tribes as a subject matter doing comparative study. So it is a holistic study of human society. In fact, the word social anthropology was used by Sir James Fraser. Prior to that, cultural anthropology was there. It was not social anthropology. And it was developed by Sir James Fraser's students, particularly Radcliffe Brown and Malinowski. Malinowski says it is a study of total societies. And other students of Sir James Fraser, Ruth Fulton Benedict or Margaret Mead, they studied various primitive communities of particularly British Columbian islands or the geographical area between two Americas, North America and South America, and also South American societies. Many societies were studied by them. On the basis of these studies only, they have developed so many theories and all those things. We also saw the scope of social anthropology, the entire gamut of social relationships or human relationships are part and parcel of the subject matter of our social anthropology. So is this clear so far? Jyotirmayi, are you there, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this clear? Were you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am. Very clear, ma'am.
Thank you. And Shiva Aryan, right? Are you there? Hello. Redmi note, it is coming. May I know the name of this person? Hello? Name of this person, Redmi Note 8. If you have any doubts, you can stop me and you can ask me, ma. Feel free. And one more thing also I wanted to say. If let us say language, we are continuing it in English only because all of you are going to write your examination in English language. But if you find any difficulty, then I know Telugu also. If you are having any doubts, then you can call me later also, or you can ask in the class itself if you find any difficulty. Only request what I would like to put before you is, please, after the class, after completion of your classes, you please try to read today itself whatever lessons are taught to you. Why? Because so that you will be able to understand, your memory will be very fresh and you will be able to understand. Once you understand, then that will be very easy for you to remember it and you will be able to write your examinations in a proper way and get good marks also. Now we are having little bit time. Can we proceed to the next one? Next unit, relationship with other social sciences. Shall we start this?
Ma'am, 1 minute, ma'am.
Tell me, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you send this, that PowerPoint presentation is there now?
Why not? Why not? But to whom? The thing is, I mean, I cannot send it to this technical department, no. If you want, I can give you the link here. I'll put the link in our chat box, okay?
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, can I know your mobile number, please?
Why, my dear? No problem, no problem. But is there any need to have that mobile number? I was wondering. Okay, no issue. One second. I'll put this link to you. Okay. See that link I have posted in the chat box. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Open your chat box and copy that link so that you can see that. It is not only this slideshare, there are so many. You can also read them. It will be very easier for us to, from next class onwards. So I mean, I'll be giving some more this thing because it is only, what can I say, intro part. That's the reason only one slideshow I have taken. Okay, my number is 98481 14906. You note it down?
9848114906.
Right, that is it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You can also see me on YouTube. In fact, I am having my own channel, Bhakti Mantram. So you can see me there. Like
Okay.
it, if you give my name, many will come. MV Lakshmi Devi, my name. So many videos are there in our YouTube related to law, related to social relationships and all that.
Ma'am, I have a small doubt, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, I have a subject criminology.
Okay.
Madam, can you explain that the class also?
No, not in this class, because these classes are scheduled only for a particular subject.
Okay.
And these are going to be streamed in our YouTube also. For those who are not in a position to attend these classes. So later they will be saying, no, so here the scope is very distinct. In these classes, we cannot have any other subject other than the subject which is, what can I say, assigned for this. If you want to have criminology, anyhow, I've given my number, you can contact me if you are having any doubts. And I may be able to clarify your doubts, but not in these classes.
Okay, fine, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Right?
Okay.
Any other doubts?
No, ma'am.
No? At least let us start. What do you say? I'm having a bad habit of, let us say, bargaining for time. Okay, the intro part I'll complete. Okay, in our next class we'll see this lesson. But social anthropology, on the basis of our study of its definition, meaning, and all that, we understood that it has a relationship with various other social sciences and also with physical anthropology to some extent. And in our second unit, we'll be studying this in detail, how social anthropology is linked with various other social sciences. Whenever we see this difference between one science and other sciences, what we usually do is we will be taking a kind of frame of reference, you can say. I think once again, I may have to stop my camera. I'm looking upside down. We usually take the definition part of both the sciences. We consider the research methodology used by both the sciences, how they are different or how they are similar, these things we'll be seeing. We also will be seeing how the subject matter of both the sciences, is it similar or different? Similarities and differences we'll be seeing. And because of the conjunction of these two sciences, whether any other science, whether any other branch of a particular science originated or not, even this also will be studying whenever we study the relationship with other sciences, whether it is sociology and other sciences or social anthropology and other sciences, whatever it is, we usually be doing this. My God, still I am. Now, social anthropology is linked with various sciences. Of all these sciences, sociology is the first one, because all of you are well aware we are all sociology students. We are not anthropology students. So social anthropology will be studying from the viewpoint of sociology, and social anthropology is very crucial for us to understand social relationships. What is the difference between these two, or similarity between these two? Sociology studies social life. Social anthropology also same. So both these studies, sociology as well as social anthropology, are defined as systematic study of culture, social structures, institutions, etc. These words are not new to you, you have already studied these words. In order to understand and examine you and me, that is people, we do study culture, social structures, functions, institutions, etc. Anthropologists also do the same, but only difference is empirical work, we usually call it field work, we have been saying. Anthropological studies are 100% based upon empirical work, whereas sociologists, of course, they too follow empiricism, field work and all that, but sometimes they may not consider all aspects of a particular society. Only few aspects they may take. Say, for instance, economic aspects or religious aspects or political aspects. Any one aspect of human life they will be taking into consideration. Even the thought also is different. Sociology usually gives emphasis to one particular aspect of human life, whereas social anthropology would like to have a comprehensive outlook of human life. You can say in a, what can I say, easiest way, macro level and micro level also. Of course, this is not a proper one because in sociology also macro sociology is there, micro sociology is there. But for our convenience sake, here the entire gamut will be taken into consideration by the social anthropologists. Any one aspect of our life will be done, studied by the sociologists. But are they different? Let us say the differences here. Yes, we have to say how they are different. Most of the sociological studies are based upon industrialized societies, because all of you are well aware, Industrial Revolution paved the way for the development of sociology as a new science. So they are more or less Western oriented or industrialized societies oriented. But anthropology studies are not like that, because they would like to study the culture and its development, whether it is European society, industrialized society, non-industrialized society, or India, or Myanmar, or Timbuktu. Wherever we have primitive tribes having their own culture, anthropologists go there and study them. And this particular difference is a crucial between sociology and social anthropology. Coming to the other aspects, scientific method or descriptive method or comparative method, all these, even sociologists also use these methods. There is hardly any difference here. Similarly, various data analysis or data collection techniques, interviews, observation, both sociologists as well as anthropologists use them in order to do predictions, generalizations, whatever mathematical computational techniques we are using, both of them will be using them. Here, except this particular aspect, westernized or industrialized society, non-westernized, non-industrialized society, this particular aspect is a very crucial one. Coming to the question of conjoining two studies. Here, the question of conjoining is not there. The reason is Elif Kroeber. We are going to study about him when we talk about economics, particularly economic anthropology. What he says is sociology and social anthropology are twin sisters. They both are sisters. So the question of these two sciences coming together, conjoining together, and creating a new study doesn't arise at all, because they both are together, always together. So this is in a nutshell about sociology and social anthropology. Social anthropology with other social sciences we'll see in our next class, that is tomorrow. I think this part is okay, right? You could understand this, right? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So shall we have our class tomorrow at same time as per our timetable?
Yes, ma'am.
Meanwhile, you
Okay,
can
ma'am.
go through this lesson. If you find any difficulties, please let me know tomorrow. Tomorrow, first 2 minutes will be for recapitulating whatever we studied today. Okay? Okay, then take care.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Ma'am, you petition.